Thank you. Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 21st, 2024. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. Roll call, please. Scott.
Scott Sobey.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Autumn Wood.
Kwame Barney.
Sandy Slavin.
Michael Mercier.
Joseph Still.
You're next.
Christine Santos.
And Josh Rarity.
I declare we have a quorum, and I open the meeting. We have a new person here. Please. Josh, would you like to introduce?
Sure.
Christine.
Christine is our conservation agent, so she'll be working directly with me to advise you guys. I don't know that she'll be coming to every one of your hearings, but I felt it was important to get her in front of you guys tonight for at least an introduction.
Thank you. We have a change in procedure that we ask people who are going to be here representing their projects to be sworn in. And a part of that is that Mr. Faraday be sworn in, so I'm going to ask him to stand and raise your right arm. Do you swear to tell the truth and the whole truth and all, nothing but the truth and all issues coming before the meeting tonight?
I do.
Thank you. So he doesn't have to get up for every hearing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have a request. So, Autumn, first one, please.
Notice a public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held in Room 520, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Massachusetts, on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, at 6 p.m. On the request for determination of applicability for Dos Amigos Realty, LLC, 12 Fellowship Circle, West Wareham, Massachusetts, 02576. Proposed septic system upgrade, map 67, Lot B, 134 County Road, West Wareham, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Is there anybody here representing this project? Please come forward and identify yourself.
Good evening, Sam Imelli with JC Engineering.
Sam, I'm going to ask you to stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in the matter of 134 County Road? Thank you. All right, you're up.
All right.
Talk to me about the project you've already started.
The subject property here is 134 County Road. We'll be upgrading an existing cesspool with a new Title V denitrification system. The proposed work will include installing a new septic tank, distribution box, and leaching fields. The work will take place within a flood zone, AE elevation 14, as well as within the 100-foot buffer of the BVW. As you can see on this site plan here, the system is sited at the furthest feasible location on the site from the wetlands. Additionally, erosion control will be placed between the work and the resource areas. The property was also staked out early last week, and the Board of Health has already reviewed and approved these plans. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you. I will ask. All right. Paula Jean, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Autumn.
No questions, thank you.
Kwame.
No questions, thanks.
Michael.
No questions, thank you.
Joe.
I'm just curious, is the property being sold, or is this just something the owners are deciding to do?
It's under new ownership, so they're...
Okay, gotcha, so it has to get done. Okay, I have no further questions.
Scott.
No questions, thank you.
I didn't want to start with you.
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, then I will start with you. All right. Anybody online or in the audience would like to speak to this project? I understand it's been started. Josh, you're up, please.
So We conducted a site visit this morning. It looks like there were some trees taken down where the inspection port and the leaching field are proposed, which is within inside your 100-foot wetland offset. And closer to the south side of the plan on this slope, it looks like some of the brush was taken down on the south side of the house and kind of just dumped on that hill. So I think it's standard practice for the commission to issue a $200 fine for starting work before a permit is issued. And I think you guys should condition that the removal of that vegetation that was dumped on the slope there be removed, and an erosion control added to the south side of the plan, more for a limit of work than actual erosion. But
All right, we have nobody here who wants to speak, so
Motion to close the hearing?
I have a motion to close the
Second.
hearing. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We have five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah,
Myself, no, I was going to say.
yeah,
myself.
5. 500. Sorry. Okay.
Josh, could you please remind me what condition you said for, was it a negative?
I didn't even
say.
mention it. So it will be a -3 and a -6, and the conditions under the -3 are removal of the brush from the wetland offset buffer and supplying an erosion control on the south side of the property.
And
So
a
moved.
And the fine?
$200 fine.
Fine.
Do
Fine,
we do
too.
that separately or under the same?
I'll make it
Same.
part of the motion.
I motion to approve with a -3 and a -6 with the condition of an erosion control on the south side of the property and the condition of the removal of the vegetation and a $200 fine for beginning work.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you.
I can't tell you don't do the work, but you've already started.
Don't do any more work.
All right, thank you. Next, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Roger Keys, 7 Harbor View Lane, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02538. Routine maintenance of deeded easement, BK 4848, page 339, Plymouth County, Mass, ROD. We are requesting a permit to continue maintaining a 5-foot pathway through the conservation setbacks area as depicted in attached plan. Maintenance includes mowing and removal of limbs and brush that obstruct usage of the deeded pathway. Plymouth County ROD BK 38290, page 117/BK 40193, page 224/BK 4848, page 339, map 29, lot 1006, 12 Harborview Lane, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Thank you. And who's here to represent the project? Please come forward and identify yourselves. Be seated at the desk first. Yes, we'll both raise your right hand, hands. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this matter of 12 Harborview Lane.
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
Okay.
12 or 7?
12 Harborview Lane. Sorry, it says 7 Harborview Lane. Thank you for correcting me.
I do.
Okay. You're up. Talk to us about the project.
Well, the description, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I am Roger Keys, number 7 Harborview Lane. This is my wife Shannon. We have a home on Harborview Lane, and we have lived there for over 40 years. We do have an easement down to the water, and all I'm asking is that we continue to maintain it, which is our legal right and obligation. And I think the description that was read is pretty much to the point.
Okay. Questions? I'll start with Scott.
Yeah, so I was at the project today, and the first thing I'll say is this is not the first time that's come before the commission where one neighbor seeks to have redress against another neighbor using the Conservation Commission as a tool or conduit for that. It's been termed weaponization of the Conservation Commission. And I think we need to, this doesn't necessarily fit this project exactly right now, but we need to have some way of dealing with these weaponization issues. I would like to see some kind of mediation that occurs between neighbors before it comes to the Conservation Commission to see if neighbors are able to work out their issues between themselves. And if they can't do that, then to come for the Conservation Commission. I think that's something we need to work on as a group. As far as this situation is concerned, it seems like the easement is there, and the easement allows, apparently, I'd like to see the deed that dictates what's allowed or not allowed in the easement. I don't know if that's available or not.
Pass that down, please.
There you go. I have both of them if you want to see it as well.
Actually, before we continue, I would like to say that I do know the residents over, excuse me, I do know the residents over at 12 Harborview Lane personally, and I have no financial interests in the matter. That's all. So anyway.
And I'm going to say, I know them also, we're garden club members together, so, and I will be impartial in this decision.
So anyway.
So I guess the issue boils down to what the Conservation Commission would allow within the 30-foot no activity zone, although it has historically allowed maintenance of pathways and so on. My question, I guess, is can there be a way, Roger, if I can call you Roger, Mr. Keys?
Absolutely.
If there can be some growth of the vegetation where you maintain it so that it's not cut all the way down to the ground?
Well, it is our walking path. So I would imagine, and I've researched this and we've had legal help with this, that there is an option that we could put a boardwalk there. And so maybe that's an option that the board would like to consider. Personally, I would not like to do that, but walking down there with my dog and with the ticks and the mosquitoes, keeping it short and sweet down in that area is the best way for me. I have been bitten by a tick. I do have Lyme disease in my blood, so I'm very conscious about that. We do have a dog, and we do walk down there every day, so.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Paula Jean?
Well, I share the same concerns as Scott as far as having some sort of process for mediation so that we do not become weaponized. So that's something I agree with. I also went to the site, and when I saw it, let me ask, how wide is the easement in the?
It's a 10-foot swath.
10 foot. So I drove up there and I turned around, and then when I saw what it was, I thought, whoa, this thing is really wide. It's mowed close. I don't mean that you did it, but it's mowed close to the ground, and I wouldn't say you could land a jumbo jet in there, but you could certainly drive a tractor trailer down. It's very wide, the whole space. I know you're talking about the small path further to the right facing the water, right?
Correct.
Right. But I'm just saying there's like such a wide area from, I think, the front of your house to the water, and I wasn't clear how much of that you're concerned with or who keeps that mowed, but my guess is that over the years it's been whacked away wider until it's it's going to be a vacant lot there pretty soon to the water.
Well, if I can
Yes,
respond.
please.
Well, Paula Jean, as you know, I tried to explain that to you the other day, that the Finn property is right up against that border. The Finn property belongs to Joanne and Dr. Finn. Dr. Finn has passed away. So my easement is to the right of that. So
Right.
what that swath of land, which looks large, and it is
Huge,
large,
yeah.
but that is not my right-of-way. That is not my easement. So if and when the Finn household decides to sell or transfer property, and somebody comes in and says, you cannot trespass on that, then I am only limited to that 10-foot swath, which is now down to a 5-foot swath due to the board.
Right.
So, considering that the Finn property is adjacent to this, I don't think it's relevant to my position. But That being said, the Finns, Joanne Finn is a widow. I do maintain her property for her because she can't, and she's not able to. We do share kayaks down there, so the kayaks down there are shared. So it just, that property is totally different from.
Okay, I understand. I was just clarifying that the part you're
understand.
talking about
I
is
understand.
facing the water. It's the furthest to the right
Correct.
section. And then there's some section that has grown up, not a straight path, but it kind of tapers off, and then the mowed part.
Correct.
And then I was also curious about the weed whacker that was sitting there. There was some seaweed. It was a rack line up from the water. I didn't pace it off or measure it, and there was a weed whacker laying on the ground there, and it kind of looked like, whoa, somebody weed whacking really close to the water. I was just curious about that.
The weed whacker is mine, and as I said earlier and prior, I do maintain the Finn property, and I did have my weed whacker down, then I got
For
in my
that.
kayak and I went and did that. So
Okay.
that
Thank
is
you.
totally not part of the easement or this issue.
Okay, I just wanted to separate
I
that out.
understand.
Thank you.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Kwame,
No questions at this time, thank you.
Michael.
Yes, I'm curious, also, there's obviously the issue of the easement getting wider and wider and wider, but on top of that, the work's being done within a 30-foot no-activity zone?
That is the issue that we're facing right now. What I've been limited to is a 5-foot pathway down to the water. I have a 10-foot easement. And last year, we got a permit. Faraday arranged that for us, and it was approved, so we went and cleared. And now we're down to a 5-foot pathway from the 10-foot easement.
All right, because...
So that's what I'm asking to maintain, is the 5-foot pathway.
Okay, because maintenance is typically one thing, but to keep growing wider, 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 and keep growing, I think it's a totally separate issue, and typically we don't allow work within a 30-foot no-activity zone. That's
We are-
just my concern here.
I understand that, but it has not gotten wider, wider, wider. It is limited to a 5-foot swath.
All right. Okay, well, again, allowing for work within a no-activity zone is that's just my concern, but anyway.
Sir, have you been to the site?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Okay, so recently?
I'm sorry?
Recently?
Yes, I've seen it in
Okay,
the past.
so you understand that there's a vegetation growing, and then there's this small 5-foot, well, actually, it's not even 5-foot path, but that is adjacent to the Richmond property.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, Sandy, rather.
Denise?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, we got Sandy. Yes.
I'd like to note that I've just entered the
Yeah,
the
I got
meeting.
you down at 6:10.
Thank you, okay. Well, mediation for something like this would be preferable. I agree with you there. I think using of the word weaponization has such a negative connotation that we really should, it's more of a utilization and an enforcement of the bylaws. I don't think it's weaponizing us. I think it's utilizing us to enforce the bylaws that are in place in Wareham. Looking at the site, string running down the center, to the left, we have no control over. That's private property. What they do, what his agreement is with that private property is not under our jurisdiction. They can do whatever they want, whatever their agreement is for that. From the center line over is where you've been measuring the 5-foot. My concern with the whole thing is you do the 5-foot from the center line over, fine. You get down to the bottom where the no activity zone is, which you have every right to move into the no activity zone by our bylaws because of the easement. For some reason or other, you veer over and you now measure from the property line to the center, leaving center vegetation. Personally, I would prefer to see the vegetation stay attached to the other vegetation, and you remain consistent with measuring from that center line over your 5-foot.
I would
Is there a reason why you veer and go around that center section?
There is an explanation for that. As of last year, most recently, there was a monument put down there. It's a 4x4 post put down there, which indicates in the marsh, which indicates the end of the Rushman property. I don't know if an engineer put it in there, but it has just recently appeared. So before that, there was a stick, a snowplow emblem, these sort of things, which they really didn't know where the property line was. So in an abundance of caution, I took what I know the Finn property is, I went in 10 feet and then reversed back 5 feet and did that swath, leaving that open area.
Right.
But I would be more than happy to.
You would be open to moving and measuring
And
from
I
that
certainly
center
would.
line?
And now that I have but I have a landmark out there that I can measure 5 foot in, because I do not want to go an inch over or an inch under.
Correct.
And I want to be correct in this. I really want to put this to an end. I want to abide by the rules. I do try to abide by the rules. I've worked with Josh closely. I've asked him questions more than I probably should, and he's been very helpful with me. And all I'm trying to do is maintain a 5-foot pathway
Okay.
to the water's edge.
If you would start the measurement from the center and go to the right, I would feel more comfortable with how you're doing it.
I would prefer that also, ma'am. And
Okay.
I didn't do it last year because I really did not know where that monument was. And now there is a permanent monument.
There's a monument down there?
There's
It's a
4x4
post.
post right
Just
at
a
the end.
post?
At the top and the bottom of the right-of-way.
And that's allowed? Is that allowed?
We don't know who put it in.
All right, well, we'll have to discuss that.
You could
No,
allow
no.
it, but you did not see a permit for it.
We don't have a permit for whatever this monument thing is.
It's a 4x4 post.
Just to qualify that, I did not put that in.
Yes.
Okay, that's what, I was sure about that. I do have a concern, though, the kayak rack
Okay?
in the no-activity zone area.
Okay?
It's a great rack. I love the fact that you've got the kayaks up off the ground. I really would prefer that being pulled out of the no-activity zone, just back further.
I have no problem with that. When we built those racks for storage for the kayaks, they're only temporary there.
Right.
And we did consult the harbor master at the
Right.
time on
Yeah.
what would be appropriate. And that's what he told us to do, so that's what we've done.
Okay.
Those are temporary. They're only there when we're here seasonal. And
Correct.
the kayaks and the rack is removed. But if you prefer for me to move it
They
up
have to
out
be
of-
moved out of the no-activity zone because the easement does not pertain to that section where you have that kayak. The easement only pertains to the 5 foot to the right of that line.
Understood, but those are not all my kayaks.
Okay,
So-
but you said, you had
Joanne
informed me that your
Finn's.
kayak was on it, so. if
Yes,
you
it
could-
is. And Joanne Finn's kayak is there also.
Okay,
And they're on Joanne Finn's property.
okay, so then, Ms. Joanne Finn, I'm assuming is not here?
No.
This isn't about her property.
Well, it is to the extent that there's
Okay.
an enforcement that needs to be done to remove the.
I'd be happy
kayak
to,
from
I'd be
the-
happy to speak with her and move those up out of the zone.
Oh, I think Josh can probably take care of that for
Yep,
us.
I'll reach out to her, no problem.
Easement, move racks, change. It was all I had on it, thank you.
Thank you.
Joe, anything?
Yeah, so you mentioned you have this easement. How long have you owned the property and maintained that path?
My parents rented the home in the late 70s, and I would say the purchase was in 1980, so 44 years.
So I'm almost coming up on 50 years. You've been maintaining that path as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I do, just in case anybody wants, I do have affidavits from the prior owner of number 12, Joanne Finn, and Melanie, who is Tremont Nail, who is the only other resident on that street. So I have that if you want to see it.
Okay.
Would you like to-
I have no other questions.
Okay.
I was just kind of, easements can kind of just happen too. If it's left alone for 50-plus years, it's kind of just easement in it, and it's a weird like loophole in the law. But
This,
It's
thi-
in our
it
deed.
is
this-
in the 30-foot activity, which is concerning. But if you've been maintaining the path too, I know you have a legal right, and I appreciate you coming in here. But I have no further
Yeah,
questions.
that's-
Just main comments.
I appreciate that, and it is in my deed, and it is also in the prior deed before the Rushmans bought the property. So it is a crucial part for us because we are not, Shannon, please, we are not on the water, but that is our only access to the water. And when my parents bought the home, the Finn property was there, nor was the Rushmans' property. And so my parents were adamant, and I have been adamant in maintaining that easement so we could have access to the water. And just to add to that, Joanne Finn and the Finn household has been more than generous to us in letting us use their walkway down there. But that may or may not be forever.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'm very limited to speaking about. I didn't get a chance to get out there, so
Well, come on down.
I will
Okay.
have to.
Anybody like to speak to this project? Please come forward and identify yourself, please, Ann.
Evening, I'm Ann Ruchman, property owner of 12
Okay.
Harborview Lane.
Ann, I need you to sit down and spell your last name for the person doing our minutes.
Ruchman, RUTSCHMANN.
Thank you. Okay, you're up.
I'm going to swear her in. I'm going to swear her in.
No.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah, go.
As I mentioned, I'm Ann Ruchman. I'm the property owner and the sole owner of the pathway easement, which we talk about this evening. I'm the only person who paid property taxes on this property, and I have the sole liability on this property. It's my primary residence. I am a Wareham voter and a resident. I am retired. By background, prior to retiring, I traded stocks for an investment firm in Boston and did the same for a U.S. brokerage firm in Zurich, Switzerland. I'm also a United Nations NGO representative in Geneva, Switzerland. I volunteered and fundraised for several groups in Switzerland and in Wareham. I'm an active member of the Wareham Garden Club, and I'm happy and proud that we try to beautify Wareham by maintaining several town gardens and often weed and pick up trash around town. I state all of this to try to demonstrate that I am responsible and civic-minded and a hands-on volunteer. I am also the person who follows the rules. Despite the fact that I'm a senior citizen and a woman, I will not be bullied. I will not be...
Please, no personal comments. Please take it to the project only.
My primary goal, thank you, my primary goal in appearing before the commission tonight is not to argue over whether my neighbor can mow an additional few feet for him to gain a better view, but I'm here to understand and clarify for myself and for my neighbor the Conservation Commission's rules and regulations that encumber my property, as this uncertainty and unclarity and my neighbor's unhappiness with the process has caused tremendous hostility. However, there's no place for me to be bullied as I go through the proper process and evaluate that I can and cannot be done on my property. Please know that I will ensure that on my property, everyone will follow the law, rules and regulations, whatever the ruling will be tonight. And in the future, my neighbor needs to follow the rules as well, and he needs to respect the process. It's very important that conservation decisions are open and transparent and inclusive to me as property owner, and any decision or action that affects my property be communicated to me in order that I am not blindsided by something uninspected. This hearing and my participation is an example of an open and transparent procedure. That is why I'm here tonight. It's not to weaponize. So 2 points of clarification on the pathway. There is first of all, as of November 2022, there was by GAF a wooden stake and a metal marker in the ground that specifically and clearly labeled my property boundary between 12 Harborview Lane and 10 Harborview Lane. So that, it was clear. There's a wooden stake with an orange thing on that. So it's been there for quite a while.
On both sides of the pathway or just on the top of the hill?
Just on the left side of my property that borders 10 and my property.
By the
12.
By the
By the
driveway
water.
or down by the water?
Down by the water.
Down by the water?
Oh, both, actually.
You've got both, you've got two, okay.
have
So
two.
GAF put them both in,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, it's clear. It's
Okay.
a stake.
And so that is indicating your property line with Joanne's?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So, other point is that from 2011 to 2023 last year,
I maintain this property. I had my garden guy every 2 weeks take a weed whacker, not a sit-down mower or any diesel-powered thing, to be respectful of nature. And if you would like proof of that, from 2011 to 2023, every 2 weeks he would do that. So he was not, my neighbor was not the sole person maintaining this easement. I was. The next clarification is that there is a post that was inserted 2 days ago to the left of my property that indicated the end of 30 feet no activity zone. This is marked incorrectly, and it's misleading. This is approximately the start, the beginning of the 30 feet no activity zone. You can confirm with land use coordinator that my statement is correct. Next thing is a small point, but in the spirit of being accurate, the surveyor tape that Roger Keys pulled 2 days ago does not accurately delineate the property line. The tape was secured on the right side of my 2 4x4 posts, one by the road and the other by the water, the posts of which are actually to the right of the true property boundary. And as I mentioned, that's clear. The property boundary is clear. I measured just at one point by the true boundary, and it was off by 9 inches. And again, it's a small point, but in the spirit of being accurate.
What's off by 9 inches?
The-
Where GAF put the...
No. The surveyor tape that Roger Keys pulled 2 days ago.
It's no longer there. All right, it's been pulled. Okay. All right, so, but we still have the 2 posts that GAF put in.
Yes.
Sorry, all right, and those 4x4s are still there?
Yes.
And they do represent your property line that GAF put in?
It represents our mark, an indication of where to look for GAF property boundaries, because we've had problems in the past where our property stakes are disappeared, or they moved.
But for this point, do you agree that those 2 stakes represent your property line that GAF put in?
Yes.
Anything else? Okay, just the 2 posts, okay. Anything else, Ann?
I think everybody received a copy of my email, but I would like to read just the 2 paragraphs, and then I won't read the middle part, just in the interest of time.
As long as it pertains to what we're hearing about, okay.
So I would like to state my objection of the request of my neighbor, Roger Keys, to continue to prune and mow on the newly created and mowed 5 feet width pathway to the right of my pathway as you face the water, within the 30-foot no activity zone. However, I do support the continued maintenance of a 5-foot width pathway to the left of the easement as you face the water that borders my neighbor on 10 Harborview Lane. Even though the easement details that Roger Keys has the right of a 10-foot wide pathway, I believe the maximum width which would be allowed by conservation is a total width of 4 to 5 feet to enable passage to the water within the 30-foot no activity zone. This will allow ample room to walk to the water for water activities, and it is my understanding that granting of 4 to 5 feet in the no activity zone has been the commission's precedent. So last month, Roger Keys created and mowed a new 5-foot wide strip within the 30-foot no activity zone on the far right side of the easement pathway as you're facing the water. This optically looks like a mohawk haircut when you look at the pathway. It does not make any sense to walk on this newly mowed strip in the water when there's plenty of room to walk on the left side of the pathway. The only motivation I can think for cutting this strip is to improve his view, as he expressed his desire in a previous email to me. His easement does not grant him a right to view, it grants him a right to walk by foot to the water for water recreation. In summary, I propose the following to the Conservation Commission. Number 1, Conservation Commission to reject the current request to continue to maintain the 5-foot pathway within the 30-foot no activity zone to the far right of the easement, which results in that optical mohawk haircut. Number 2, Conservation Commission approves the continued maintenance of a 5 feet width path to the left of the easement that borders my neighbor at 10 Harborview Lane. Number 3, maintenance of the first 100 feet from the water, which is under Conservation Commission's authority, be also limited to a width of 5 feet. My understanding back in October 2022 was that this was passed in current procedure of the first 100 feet of protected water areas and is under Conservation Commission authority and control. Number 4, Commission confirms that any approval is valid for 3 years with an opportunity to file for an additional year, and then all requests for maintenance and pruning need to be resubmitted for a Conservation Commission hearing. The reasons for my proposals, the above proposals would allow the Keys ample access to water by foot for their kayaks and paddleboards, and it would help preserve the water and wildlife that is abundant on this particular acreage. When I bought my house in 2010, the pathway was considerably more narrow, and over the years, pruning from my neighbor's adjacent property, as well as last year's pruning, resulted in a much wider area. It's very important for me to preserve as much of the natural landscape as possible. This land should be a nature pathway to walk, not a road which encourages vehicles to drive on or park.
Thank you. Anybody else comment on this property? All right.
Ms. Slavin, do I
Yes.
have an opportunity to read?
Yes. Okay. Roger, comments, please.
So the first thing is, and I appreciate Ann's comments, but the first thing is I swore to tell the truth. And so when you asked Ann if JF put those monuments in, she said yes, and that is not the truth. That is not the case.
Oh, sorry. Did you watch somebody actually put them in?
Yes, I did.
Yep.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And it wasn't JF. So that being
Wait.
said, well, her fence guys put them in, as well as her husband.
It could very,
What are monuments? I thought monuments...
sorry, there are two 4x4s in the...
Posts.
Posts.
Okay, okay, I
Those posts.
understand now. That
Those
was not...
posts, one in the water and one up by the driveway. Who put them in?
Yes, my fence company. I thought monuments were what GAF put in.
No, I'm talking about the visible post that indicates the boundary line between Flint's property and your property.
Okay, what I'm talking about GAF installed were metal things in the ground as well as a small wooden stake with an orange color on
Okay,
it.
any idea
Paint.
who put those 4x4s there?
Yes, my fence company, probably about a month ago. And again, those posts were to help find that metal mark that GAF put in.
Okay. Are the posts next to those metal marks?
They're off to the right a little bit, but close.
So they're on Joanne Flynn's property?
Nope, they're
You're
to the right.
To the right. Okay, so Joanne's property is to the left of them.
Yes, as you're facing the water.
Okay. Now, Josh, my question to you. The right-of-way is 10 feet. The path can be 10 feet wide until we get to the 30-foot no-activity zone where it has to go to 5?
Correct.
So they can maintain, based on their deeded rights, maintain a 10-foot wide path until they get to the 30-foot no-activity zone where it has to go to 5.
Correct.
And we oversee within 100 feet of the wetlands.
Correct.
All right. Yeah,
I can read the section, it might help.
what's,
Well,
is,
according to, in our buffer zone section,
wait,
C dot, oh, I'm sorry. C dot 1 dot D, if it is in the judgment such a reduction is necessary to accommodate reasonable access by path or other least intrusive means of access to other portions of the property or the shoreline, as long as there is no alternative mean of accessing the other portions of the property, and that the alteration does not exceed 5-foot naturally surfaced path or an elevated boardwalk not to exceed 3 foot within the 5-foot path. Such alterations may require wetlands replication. He doesn't have the right to have the 10-foot easement on her property.
Yeah, but,
Only the 5-foot,
no, he's deeded the 10 feet.
not on her property.
Yes.
But per our bylaws, he can only have 5-foot.
Within our wetland.
No, that's not what it says here.
Josh?
It doesn't say what's within the 5-foot no activities.
I'm,
So let's pretend the Wetlands Protection Act and our bylaw doesn't exist.
There it is. Oh.
So pretending that wetlands don't exist here, right?
yes,
He has a 10-foot wide deeded.
deeded
easement,
right.
right?
Correct,
So he has, under easement law, he has the right to maintain that.
correct.
Okay? He has that right only under the Wetlands Protection Act until it hits your 30-foot no activity zone, where if there was no bylaw in Wareham, he would have the right to maintain a full 10 feet
10
of
feet.
his easement. Our bylaw limits that 30-foot no activity zone down to 5 feet.
And I don't see where within this bylaw that it states it's that. I see that it gives him 5 foot throughout the whole area, the whole easement. Can you show me where it's telling me that it's only within the no activity zone? Because I'm looking at the buffer zone
So
in the
you-
bylaws.
Right.
I'm just trying to understand. I mean, the way I'm
Okay.
reading this, it doesn't tell me that it's just the 30-foot activity zone that he can have the 5-foot in.
The section you're reading
Yeah,
is exemptions under your 30-foot no activity zone.
correct.
Right. So,
No, I mean, the section I'm reading is the buffer zone. The
Right.
exceptions. Conservation can may waive or reduce the no activities.
you're looking at, right, the section of the bylaw is titled buffer zones, but really the
Right.
only standard you guys have for the buffer zone is creating your 30-foot no activity zone.
Okay,
So within your 30-foot no activity zone, you have the right for the 5-foot wide naturally vegetated path.
within the no activity zone
Right.
only.
Right. I mean,
Okay.
you guys approve
So
projects.
technically, you're telling me then that he could measure 10 feet from that center,
From the property.
from the
yeah,
string line that I saw the other day. He could go technically over 10 feet until he hits the no activity zone, then he has to reduce it to 5 foot.
Correct.
Okay. Then I stand corrected.
I have a question then. So as long as the pathway is no more than 5 feet, it could happen anywhere within that 10-foot easement, is that correct?
Yep, he's come to you with a plan that's presented on the screen that was created by GAF of where the proposed section of clearing is.
Right, so today it looked like a mohawk haircut, right?
Right,
The
yeah.
The commission has the right to not approve it where it is and require that it be somewhere else.
Well, Mr. Keys said to me this morning, or this afternoon when I was over there, that he'd be willing to move that pathway right along the property line, essentially where the mohawk,
Right.
I don't know what you call that on a mohawk haircut, which is something that, I'm sorry, Ms. Rutschman has asked for. So that seems like that could be fixed fairly easily, that they agree on those 2 points. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes, I'm willing to do that.
So is there any other issue outstanding then? Or is this can just be resolved between the two, agreeing that the 5-foot pathway would be right along the property line?
well, part of us, because that activity is in the 30-foot, so we would, what we're saying on the plan, that we move this area to be cleared from where it is on the plan, next to Flynn's property. Move it over.
Yeah.
Now, I guess, no other comments on Anybody online? Nobody else? Okay, Ann, thank you.
Ms. Slavin, if I could just ask one question of the board?
Yes, please.
So down the road, if this situation continues, and I'm more than willing to abide by whatever rules, I do abide by the rules, and whatever your suggestion is, I will move that zone over, the cleared zone over to the Finn property. However, what would be the parameters of me putting a boardwalk down there so we would not have to have this again? That is just a question. It's something I don't
You'd be
want
limited
to
to
do.
a 3-foot wide boardwalk.
Understood, but that would be acceptable to this board?
That's not before us right now.
Okay. I'm just trying to alleviate this situation happening in a couple of years. All I want to do is try to create peace and give myself a modest access to the water without having.
I think a boardwalk would be more disruptive.
I understand.
That's my opinion.
I understand, but
It's- would be- yeah.
but it is an option, correct?
Yeah, but you'd have to come back for another hearing for it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. I'm asking a question. I'm not
Yeah.
requesting that.
So, but there is a cleared path recently done right along the property line, is that correct? You would allow that to,
We would basically flip.
allow it to regrow within the 5 feet of the 30-foot?
Yes, ma'am. So.
That's been cleared to 10 feet from Joanne's property line to your right-of-way, correct?
I'm sorry. Basically, what I'm willing to do is to take that 5-foot swath and flip-flop it.
I'm talking about
Okay.
the hard mowing that had been done. It looks like about 4 feet wide all the way down.
Yes.
You allow that to regrow, and you won't touch it again. You won't mow it again. Whoever mowed it, it won't be mowed again.
Well, that was my pathway.
But you were now moving it
Correct. So
to Joanne's property, so you will have 5 feet on Ann's property, 5 of your 10 feet allowed within the 30-foot. You will still have 10 feet outside the 30-foot.
understood. And yes, I do agree to that. So yes, I would let this, what is now mowed, grow back, and I would mow what people refer to as the mohawk. That would be my, or 5 feet
path.
over, 5 feet over from the 4x4
And
post.
adjacent to Flynn's property, it's a nice little wide spot, but that's okay. Josh, your comments, please.
Sure. Thank you, Denise. I think you did a lot of my job for me tonight, so I appreciate that. So I'll just go over a few things that may have been confusing during this whole thing.
Okay,
So first off, the notice of intent application, it specifically asks for a property owner signature. Mass DEP has taken the stance that anyone with a fee interest in a property, i.e. an easement holder, is considered a property owner. So it was adequate for the Keys to apply for the notice of intent. That's a question that we've had come up recently in the past about who can apply for applications. And that's DEP's stance, basically that they are not the grantor of property rights, but fee interest holders in a property have the right to apply for a notice of intent. And you had asked about receiving the commission's decision when it be made. The notice of, or the order of conditions that the commission will issue has a condition that it be mailed to the applicant, the property owner, Mass DEP. So you will get a copy of the decision when it's posted. We talked about the easement and where you guys have it. Well, we talked about the bylaw and where you guys allow this within your no activity zone. And the recommendation from the staff would be to take what's proposed on the plan, move it southerly 5 feet along the Flynn property line, and use that as a plan reference moving forward.
Excuse me, Josh, is that that's a new plan?
An update to this plan,
Updated plan?
just something that identifies that it's not that.
So we do issue the approval, it would be based on you receiving an updated plan showing that that area be moved. We don't have to come back to us again.
No, you could issue an approval if that's what the commission wants to do. One of the conditions could be, it doesn't get issued until an
We see a
updated
new
plan
plan.
is received. Correct.
Yes, Ann?
So to go back to what happened last August 2023, I have a point of contention. There was a new Conservation Department administrative approval form that was submitted to Conservation, and this is the form that was signed for approval of the 10 feet wide in that 100-foot X, the 30-foot no activity zone. However, it was an invalid form because it did not include my name as property owner, and if you read the form, it says
And whose form is it?
it's.
It was one that was created, but when I had first come in, remember we had talked about the administrative approval form,
Yes.
where it was, things that the commission would allow, but designated to me within my power.
Mm-hmm.
So this was one of those forms.
May I give this a copy to the board members to look?
You can give it to, is it going to make a difference in what we are about to
I think so,
approve?
because I believe that that decision, that approval that was made back August of '23 to have pruned 10 feet wide is invalid, because it looks as though, because of this form, Roger Keys was property owner and not myself.
Okay.
I was excluded.
So if we if we vote now, that becomes invalid. It becomes,
Only
it
valid
becomes
for a year anyway,
valid for a year, and what we do here overwrites what's there.
100%.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Nobody else wants to speak to this project? If not, I'm,
Somebody needs to make a motion.
sorry?
Somebody needs to make a
Yep.
motion. And it can't be
It can't,
me. Can't be me.
if not, no one else wants to make a motion to close the hearing?
So we are going to move forward with closing the hearing, and we're not going to continue for an updated plan?
No,
Or
because
would
when-
we approve
when we
with the
put the order
condition
of
of?
conditions,
Gotcha.
part of it is that
Okay.
an updated plan would be received by Josh, so we don't have to come back and hear this.
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a
Yep.
motion to close
Second.
the hearing.
Second.
I have a second, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Was abstained? 500, the hearing is closed. Josh, your recommendation?
The recommendation would be to issue an order of conditions with your standard conditions. And based on some of the things that I've heard from the commission tonight, it would be no kayak racks to be stored within the 30-foot no activity zone, and to move the clearing of 5 foot from the northern edge of the easement to the southern edge of the easement, abutting Finn's property line.
So moved. Oh,
We won't issue an order of conditions until
okay.
that plan is received.
So
That-
moved.
Second.
That's the motion.
Second.
I have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, we are 500. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commission members.
Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Diane Sturzlecki, P.O. Box 277, Webster, Massachusetts. Applicant is proposing to raise an existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling. Project will involve disconnecting and reconnecting existing utilities, constructing a gravel driveway, installing roof dry well, and site grading. This work will occur within the buffer zone to a coastal bank located on the opposite side of 15th Street. Portions of the site will also occur with land subject to coastal storm flowage. Map 11, Lot 1A, 115th Street, Wareham, Massachusetts.
And who's here representing the project?
Brian Grady with GAF Engineering.
Brian, please raise.
Sorry.
I swear,
I do.
yeah, to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding the project at 115th Street. Thank you, thank you. I know, I will not always remember.
I had an agent from another town call me and audibly laugh on the phone and said, "Who wronged your commission so badly that you're making people swear in?"
It was the recommendation of town, it was the recommendation of town council.
I've asked myself that. Yeah, me too.
We have quite a few lawsuits, and it just, never mind.
It's fine.
Are
It's
you
just-
authorized to swear in?
I don't know. I don't know. I never asked Mr. Bowen if I could.
Of course you are, as chairwoman.
Here, okay. So, other than not staking the far corner of this property, where it's not going to be, okay, you're up.
The
Brian.
property corner? Well, I didn't stake
The back corner.
the project because it's a tear down rebuild of the house. So that's basically the project.
Okay, talk.
And we will stake out the foundation after the demo, and it gets removed, and we'll stake the property lines in the house and do that in the future. So, yes, what we're doing here is basically a tear-down rebuild of an existing dwelling in approximately the same footprint, the major difference being there's a bulkhead access. This will have a crawl space, where the existing home does not. There'll be grading, reconnection of utilities. We're proposing a dry well for the roof runoff where there is none now. The dwelling itself is not located in the flood zone. The surrounding, what's remaining of the property is in the flood zone. There is across from 15th Street is Muddy Cove. There's a coastal bank. Project does fall within the 100-foot buffer zone of the coastal bank located across 15th Street. And we are proposing some erosion controls around the limit of work. And if I could respond to any questions.
Okay. Okay, Scott, questions?
I see there are already erosion control devices in place.
Yeah, they got a little bit ahead of themselves in doing that, yes. But no activities occur, just the erosion control.
No questions.
Paula Jean?
I'm thinking about the erosion controls, the old straw falling apart, straw
No.
wattles, or there are the other stuff? Okay. My mind went to the whole can of worms of everything piled along the coastal bank on the other side. I didn't measure 30 feet, but man, that looks close. It's like boat trailer, rusting utility trailers you got on the street, boats, pallets, you know.
Benches and tables. There is a
Unbelievable. I'm like, whoa, this is bringing the spotlight on this area. I don't know how much of that goes with this project, but that was like, with that, I almost couldn't see anything else. It was pretty bad.
Well, you missed the one that someone has been digging a hole to put in a walkway.
Yeah,
Josh is aware of
just-
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I haven't
that's
talked to
on
Josh.
it
I have a
too.
list.
Yes.
Okay. That I was gonna ask about the dry well, that's on there. Erosion control, grading the site. I don't have any other questions. It's just a
Okay.
mess.
Autumn?
I noticed on the current site plan, it shows a couple of trees are on the map, but then on the proposed site plan, there's no trees marked on the map. Are those going to remain, or are you planning to remove those?
If they're able to remain, they will. This home is going to have a half-story above,
Okay.
so that may impact what's able to remain.
Yeah, and insurance, and it's a small property, too.
Yes.
Yeah, understood. That's my question. Thank you.
Kwame?
That existing shed, is that anywhere near that no activity zone?
The shed in the rear of the property? There's a
Yes.
no.
It's not anywhere near, right? Okay.
No.
And that has town sewer?
Yes, served by sewer and water, correct.
Wow. Interesting. Wow. That's great. Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yes.
It must be.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. All the way down there, have sewage. That's great.
Yep, long time. Okay, Michael.
They already beat me to the erosion control question, so I'm all set, thank you.
Denise.
I just wanted to know if Paula Jean's items could be addressed.
Those are across the street on someone else's property.
That has nothing to do with this property at all?
None of it went with this property, because it looked like every house, as you came to the house, across the street, there was their junk. Next house.
I don't know who owns the
across the
bluff.
street.
I don't know who owns the bluff. Because
It's-
this property line does not exceed 15th Street.
Yeah, it's a different owner on the opposite side
Okay,
of
so
the
they don't
street.
own the others across the
Correct.
street? Because it almost looked as if, okay, these guys have a picnic table on their other side, and then these other guys had, I wasn't sure.
I don't know what's
Okay.
going on across the street, but
So
it's not
mystery people.
owned by this
Okay,
property owner.
good, that
And I think
clarifies, thank
my
you.
only concern then would be to turn it over to Josh to look into enforcement orders in that area. Just one more thing for
Wow.
you to do.
That's,
That'll keep you busy.
yep.
You saw it, yeah.
And then, my question is this existing dwelling, are you guys keeping that foundation under it, or are you destroying it? It looks a little bit different on the new plan. Are you increasing
It's
square
gonna
footage, or is
be-
it the same exact?
We're not saving any of the dwelling, it'll be from the foundation up. It's roughly the same footprint, the same size, but nothing's being saved. It's a small lot, and we're limited by setbacks, and also that 14 contours the flood zone. So we're not getting into the flood zone, so this home is not,
But is this an increase in square footage on the exact
No.
home? Okay,
No.
so,
no.
guess my only question.
Okay, I see you putting a driveway,
Yeah, right now they're parking off the edge of the road, so I'm
but
trying-
that driveway seems to be going into a raised piece of land. It looks like it's into a bank. Would there be something done to keep the driveway from, how far into that property on the left side of will the driveway go? Will you have to put some type of stone there to prevent it because it's going into a steep bank? Or
Well,
raised area?
we're changing the grade a little bit, so we're, it'll be greater than, or it'll be 1 to 10 or more. And, it'll probably be gravel, so that you won't get any erosion from it.
Will there be a bank at the end of the driveway, a raised, I'm trying to...
A gutter?
No, you're going to be digging into a small hill to put in the
Yes.
driveway, right?
Yeah, there's a bank right now, they'll
Yeah.
cut the driveway down at a better grade.
Yeah, but somewhere down the
obviously.
line, it's still a grade coming up to the bulkhead.
Yes.
Will there be something put in there to prevent the soil from eroding into the parking area off of the,
Yeah, while upon completion of construction, the site will be stabilized either with lawn vegetation or mulch or land plantings
Okay.
of that nature. Yep. Yeah, there's a note on here to stabilize, loam and seed all disturbed areas
all right.
to get them to stabilize.
Is there anybody online that'd like to speak to this project? There's nobody in the audience, so. Josh, your comments before I ask you, your comments before we close the hearing?
Sure, and hold on one second. There is, we're joined by Kathy and Nancy, so if you want to say hi to them online.
Okay.
They don't want to comment, I'm just giving you an idea of who's actually listening to us
It's
right now.
Nancy and,
And someone named Bonnie. That's the entirety of our audience, just so you know.
unless they're on channel 29.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Recommendation is a standard order of conditions.
All right, nothing else?
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, with 500 to close the hearing.
I motion to approve with the standard order of conditions.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500, done. Get your paperwork before you start. Oh, by the way, has this come before Historic Commission for demo?
I've filed the building permit, I'm waiting to hear
Okay.
back from Historic to give me the
Thank you. I
authorization.
promised Angie I would ask every once in a while if something's being torn down. Okay,
Well, on the online, once you click it's greater than 75 years old, they're supposed to get automatic notification, and then they'll be
So
in
we
touch
let the
with you.
system do the notification. Okay, thank you. Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Stephen A. King, 27 Agawam Lakeshore Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts. Removal of 7 trees within the buffer to Mill Pond and the AE flood zone. Map 129A, Lot 99 and 100, 27 Agawam Lakeshores Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts.
We haven't been able to receive a DEP file number for this, so it's been a requested continuance to your September 4th hearing.
Do we have to open the hearing?
Yes, we have to open the
Okay.
hearing, then continue.
All right, I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
Oh, I haven't been doing that. I haven't been,
It's a good process.
I can't remember all of the processes. Okay, we have opened the hearing, and the request is to continue it into 9/4, so I'll take that motion.
I motion to continue until 9/4.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. It's continued until 9/4. The next hearing is for the 40 Great Neck Development LLC. I believe they requested a continuance
Correct.
until 9/4,
9/18.
9/18. I'll take a motion to continue until September 8,
So moved.
18 or 19, I forgot. 18.
Second.
18, sorry. I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
I opposed, abstained. We're continued until 9/18. All right. Josh, you're up for the rest of them.
5 Bayberry is requesting an extension to construct a single-family home. You guys have the ability to extend for 1 year.
Wow.
My recommendation is to grant the extension.
Okay?
So moved.
I have that
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor? I
Aye.
opposed, abstained. We're 1-year extension.
That's nice.
The second one is an extension to 253 Great Neck Road. This one was actually pretty recent, but before I got here, it's for vegetation management of Phragmites. You guys had initially issued a 5-year order of conditions for this project.
So it's a continuation. They just keep it up. Where is 253 Great Neck? Who's the owner?
Whiteside. It's at the end of,
Oh, down to the bottom of the hill before it goes out to the, on the bottom of the hill, where we put in, oh, there's a pond there, and every once in a while, they've asked,
approved a culvert
yes,
replacement.
because it was broken down because the trash trucks drove over it and it broke them. Okay, so we're down at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and you guys had approved an order of conditions for management of the Phragmites. It was a 5-year order of conditions. You wrote it in.
yeah, prior to
Okay.
that, they had done some clearing, but they over-cleared around the pond.
Okay.
So we asked them to come back for a very hard, very defined area for clearing.
Oh, for the Phragmites management.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they had to plant blueberry bushes and stuff like that because they really overdid the area around the pond years ago.
Okay.
Okay,
That wasn't part of this order of
nope,
conditions.
was
but
not.
okay,
No,
I
it was
didn't see
way, it
anything.
was, yeah.
Can I just ask one question? By what means are they removing the Phragmites? I can guess, but,
They were doing cutting and painting, I believe. So they cut it and then.
so first they cut it and then round up.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what chemical they're actually using, but it's called the cut and paint method.
Right, it's a little,
You know?
thank you.
I also have a question. So when we have standing orders that exist for that long, do we have to have a report submitted to the commission, providing any updates?
So normally when you guys do perpetual conditions like that, I suggest that you have a yearly notification of when the work is being done. I didn't see anything written into the order of conditions
Okay.
for this one.
Okay, so it's kind of
but-
a moving forward conditions, we're
Yeah.
establishing that.
On the extension, you can reasonably add conditions. yearly maintenance, notification of yearly maintenance, I think is a fair condition to add.
Okay.
But I'd be careful about adding like crazy conditions.
Yeah.
If that's what the goal of the commission is, I would suggest that you have them refile.
Thank you.
Just like we do for camp. They come to us annually about clearing up that pond.
Yeah, that's something that you guys have in your order of conditions for them. Is it camp, though? It's
CAM, the clearing, yeah, isn't it camp?
The church camp?
Oh, no.
No,
I
no.
think you're right. It's the cleanup of Agawam Mill
Oh, yeah.
Pond. So, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
they come before us annually and say, we're gonna do it again.
You're right, it's camp.
Yeah.
Yep. But yes, exactly like they do.
So we could, they're looking for what,
Your bylaw says a 1-year extension.
okay, so a 1-year extension with, to extend it after another year, they have to come before us with
A new notice of it.
a new notice and, I don't know, new notice?
Annual notification you were talking about
Yeah, we could,
of what they're doing.
Yeah, when was the last time this was before the commission? Did you say it was 5 years ago?
It was 2020. So from my math, they're a year early.
Okay.
But
My math, most of us weren't up here.
Hmm?
My math, most of us weren't up here. Sandy,
I wonder who was here.
maybe Sandy, myself, maybe Kwame, that's it.
No, I wasn't here.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You're the current board and you have
born
the
yet.
right to extend.
All right.
are we extending it 1 year at a time? Or are we extending it for 5-year extension, asking for an annual update?
Your bylaw says 1 year.
1
You
year.
guys can veer from your bylaw. I mean,
Okay,
it's
so we're
not
extending-
advisable, but
We're extending it 1 year and with a 1 year.
With a requirement for a report.
And if they want, they come back with us in a year for another brand-new order of conditions. So, okay, so it's a 1-year extension.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
She said so moved.
I heard that. I heard the motion.
Okay, second. You need- you need
All in
to-
favor, all in favor. Aye. Opposed to 500.
I'll just keep punching his shoulder
Yeah.
when he's supposed to say.
That's why I moved over here.
Okay. Certification of compliances.
so I'll pull up the plan for this one. So 82 Minot Avenue. There was a deviation, so there were 2 deviations that I identified on the plan. The first one being, the paved driveways, differ from what the commission had originally approved, but they aren't inside your jurisdiction anyway.
Are these the ones close to the fire station or close to White's? Or
Whites.
closer to White's, opposite the school?
Correct, closer to White's.
Okay.
So the first deviation, well, first off, I can't pull up any of my files. I don't know what's going on with that. But, okay, so the first deviation is outside of your jurisdiction, but it is a deviation to the plan. The second difference I saw was they constructed 2 rock retaining walls on the back side of the homes. They originally proposed to just have grading done in the back, but I think the rock retaining walls are probably a better option because for the grading, they would have probably had to clear a lot of land. They kept a lot of the trees and the vegetation, or it's grown back since they built the house, but there are definitely some big trees within where the grading would have been done. So I would say the retaining walls, while they weren't proposed to you, probably would have been a better
Would have been
option.
approved.
I think you would have approved them, and I think they would have been a better option at that time. So my recommendation would be to issue the certificate of compliance.
I have a question. Can we require that they put in a plan showing those walls?
So we have the as-built plan tied to the certificate of
So we have a
compliance.
plan with
We
that
have a
in?
plan that shows those.
Thank you.
Yep.
A motion to issue the certificate of compliance?
I have a
Sec-
motion and a second. All
second.
in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain. Okay. Hicks, please.
4 Seahorse Lane, everything looked good on that one, I would suggest issuing your order of or your certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Okay, next, please.
And then the final one, are you gonna get up and talk about 15 Granston, or you want me to? I don't think so, but I will show, there are some revisions to what was proposed and what actually happened, and I'll bring up that plan for the commission now. I just figured you were staying here anyway, I thought you might want to talk about it.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
What was it for?
It was for the repair of a seawall and the removal of part of the seawall and adding a beach nourishment where the one part of the seawall was removed. So, if you, I'm not sharing it. That would
I'm
help.
trying to remember where it is.
It was 15 Granston. It's off of
The old Torigny property where he had his shellfish operation.
Okay, down that road opposite the cemetery.
Yeah, it's adjacent.
Long Nick.
Right, it's down there.
Maintain sites there. Okay, so one of the houses on the left side going in?
If you went down Granston, it's the last one on the right,
On the right, okay.
on the
Oh,
water.
yes.
Has the old seawall and the footing, toe protection. A section of it was eroding and deteriorating.
I remember the lawn. They had a lot of ducks, geese. Stepping was interesting. Okay, yes, now I remember.
Yeah, let me show the plan. So the proposal had the limit of the seawall reconstruction to, somewhere around where my cursor is. It was extended down even further past the abutting dock. It did not expand the structure at all, so it seemed like it was just a replacement of, repair and replacement of.
There was a lot of damage down there.
Yeah, I called Josh at the time. The contractor contacted me that as he started to get into it, found out the deterioration went much further, and this is what he was going to have to do. So I contacted Josh at the time, and we had a discussion, and Josh said we could proceed to take care of it.
Yep. And there was, like I said, there was no expansion into your coastal beach, just really shoring up that wall.
Okay.
And then the other deviation, both of them are pretty minor in size, but it has to do with where this pad was removed from. The previous pad that was here came out probably, what would you say, another 2 feet or so?
There was a set of steps, so it's probably 3 to 4 feet it
Yeah.
came out.
So the proposal was to keep the front side in line with the existing wall and probably stop it a little short of right here. And they've expanded by, I think it was 6 or 8.
It didn't increase on the east side, just coming forward.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It looks like it increases on the
I
east
didn't
side.
think so, okay.
This is still within the footprint of what they removed.
Okay.
So you just didn't get as much removal as what was proposed.
Right.
But those were the only 2 revisions, and
Your recommendation, those changes would have been allowed.
yeah, and I would recommend issuing a CSC.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500, done. Thank you.
Lost another attendee.
We have, I don't think there's anything administrative approvals, bylaw revisions.
Good night, thank you.
Thank you.
Did we skip enforcements?
Was there anything, I jumped over them because there's anything happening on the enforcements?
4 and 8 Kennedy Street, they're owned by the same applicant. They put in a notice of intent for each of those properties. You'll see them at
So
your
we'll be
next
seeing
meeting.
coming, okay.
Yep,
Which ones were they? Hold on.
Number one.
just number 1.
Oh, just number
You guys issued an enforcement just for 4 Kennedy, but number 8 is owned by the same property owner as well, and there's an enforcement there too.
Okay.
So, no movement on Grossi, he's still working with the engineer. Pine Lake, I received a call from the new property owners. That one, the person who created the violations sold the house immediately, and so there's a new owner of that property. He reached out to me to get in line with what he needs to do. So
Okay.
he's working with an engineer. And then 200 Great Neck, I received a site plan for that this week, and they're trying to include a septic system with their notice of intent. So
Interesting.
yeah, and I mean that's probably preferable. You probably only want to see the project once. So
Yes.
those are all being actively worked on.
Are there new ones coming on the next meeting?
It sounds like I have some work to do.
Okay.
Some homework to do.
All right.
So yes.
I think we're down to minutes. August 21st minutes were sent out. Any comments by anybody on those minutes? I just asked that Josh be identified as a person being sworn in at each one of those hearings, and that was the only adjustment I had to those minutes. Anybody else?
I motion to accept the minutes from August 7th, 2024.
I have a motion.
Second?
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. They're approved. Now we're down to appointments. We have an opening.
Can I jump in
Yes.
real quick under
Yes.
bills?
Okay.
So the MACC wants us to pay for our membership again, our yearly membership. It's $311. This is normally handled administratively, so I don't really need you to take a vote on it. But I'm looking to order MACC handbooks, and I'd rather know who's going to use them before I order a bunch of them. And they're electronic handbooks, so it's not something that you guys will get physically. You'll get a sign-in sent to your email address. But if anyone is interested, maybe I could take a roll call tonight and move on that.
Could you have them printed?
Yeah,
No.
no? Take it
I've
to
tried.
Staples and,
I've tried, I've asked. You can print each page individually if you want, but because of how the book is set up,
oh,
it's one page and then you click next and then you look at a page and then you click next.
yeah.
You can, sometimes the actual page you're looking at is multiple pages of printed sheets long, but they are not printing them.
Oh,
So
that's
it's an
too bad.
electronic handbook. It's a $20 subscription every year
Per person?
per person. The town will cover that cost for all of you. I just don't want to order a book that no one's gonna use. So,
All right. So, a show of hand, who would like to have a year's subscription to the MACC handbook? 1, 2, 3.
Sandy, you better just raise your hand.
And I'll raise it,
Zero.
for
For
Jessica.
Jessica, yeah.
Jessica will
Jessica
want one.
want
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll order the whole commission a book. No
And
problem.
one,
Thank you, Josh.
one, make a total of 10.
I need a sign-in associated with it.
Oh, because we haven't appointed
It-
we're going to move somebody up from associate to voting member.
Yeah, I'm ordering them for just all the members in general.
Okay, so we're at 9 members, you'll order 9.
Yep, they'll all be linked to your email. So I'll tell MACC that you're all interested. They'll send you a login to your email with a subscription. If anyone needs help figuring it out, come to my office. I'll
Okay.
get you set up.
Thank you.
Hmm?
I have a question.
Okay.
MACC is having a convention in the fall,
They have their fall.
correct?
Yeah,
Is
their
there
fall conference.
some way that some of us can attend it if we choose?
Yep.
And how do we go about getting the town to pay for that?
Well,
Good luck.
No, they reimburse. I don't know about
No,
you, but they
people
have
have not been,
reimbursed.
people
We-
have not been
Let me-
reimbursed.
Yes, let me, tell me if you want to go. I will try to get something in advance of I will try to get something from MACC in advance of the conference. And I'll try to get the town to pay for it before anything
Okay.
else.
Do you know the dates?
It's October,
Can't remember, to be honest with you.
I'll get it for you.
Okay. And what about the ones that have not been reimbursed?
From last October.
The town accountant told me that their W-9s were never signed in the accounting software, so I requested that be done, and I'm still waiting for word to that to be accomplished. So, when it originally happened, they asked for a W-9, which was provided. I had sent the W-9, and then when I went to act on getting them reimbursed, we never inserted the W-9s into the accounting software.
Accounting, so it's accounting who didn't do their job?
Yes.
Didn't complete the process? Okay.
Right. Yes.
So
I
do
need to
they
be
need the
careful.
W-9s
Nope.
again? They're all set.
Yep.
It's being worked on.
I'm waiting for them to confirm that the W-9s are in, so I can go into our accounting software, submit that they be paid, and then unfortunately, it takes like 3 weeks after that before the town cuts a check.
That's 3 weeks.
It's getting
So-
there.
Well, October,
Let's
Okay.
go for a year.
so, anything else before we go on to a opening we have?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
With Carol Melanson leaving us, we have an opening as a voting member to bring us up to a committee of 7. I guess my question is for Denise, would you like to come back up to a voting member?
First, I'd like to thank the commission for their support through all of my treatments, and not just their support, but some of their moms' support.
Oh, thank you.
Going through this.
I
And yes, I
appreciate it.
would most definitely like to move back up to a voting position.
All right, yeah, let's go.
So I would like to take a motion to recommend her appointment as a full member. It's a recommendation sent to the select board.
I move that we move Denise Schultz up, recommend her to move up to a full voting position on our commission.
And don't hit me, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank
All
you.
right, so that will be that when that happens, we will have a position, associate position available if anybody's interested. Anything else? I'm too tired to have a training session tonight.
The fall conference is October 19th. It's a Saturday. Generally from like 8 to 4, and they start with a breakfast meet and greet, and then they break for lunch. So
Is that up at is that up at Holy Cross?
it normally is, I think.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be.
Same place as at
It's
the
really
fun.
very informative,
Yep.
informative and a lot of fun.
Last year we had the most representatives, I think, from any other town, or we were tied for the most.
Yeah, we got a standing ovation
Yeah.
from all Massachusetts conference.
How many were there, 3?
I didn't think there was 4 of us.
Yeah.
We had 4.
Wow, that's
Most of the
cool.
time, I'm up there by myself.
Sandy, just so you know, I will be gone almost all of October.
Okay.
I know you won't miss me, but
Good riddance.
You will
Be
be
gone.
missed.
Thank you.
We'll miss you.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long way to go, and several of the larger committee members joined me in my Mini Cooper all the way up to
Oh,
Worcester.
that's a crunch.
You should have seen them crawling out of the back seat. It was, it was quite a sight. Okay,
Oh, hold on. Before we
Anything else?
close, I
Yes.
just gotta say Josh in Sandy shirts, unbelievable again.
You're welcome.
Oh, and Christine, you came in
do it for
third. You
you.
came in third.
We do it for you.
Oh, thank you.
okay. As I said, Alan grows out of them and I grow into them. So
Perfect.
these are Alan's. Okay, I'll take that motion, please, at 7:30.
Yep, I motion to adjourn at 7:30.
Second.
I have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, we're closed. Thank you very much, folks.
We have a bunch of things to sign.